Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey there, and welcome to a Tuesday. It's June 29th, and everybody's sweltering, and Susan should be on the line. Hello, Suze.
Good morning.
Hello. So, I want to start out with whale vomit.
Oh, okay. I know nothing about it. Must have missed whatever you read. Is it mostly plastic at this point?
No, well, I'm sure there's that. Yeah, but no. It turns out, first of all, that whale vomit is very desirous. And a bunch of fishermen from Yemen reeled in a 290-pound chunk of whale vomit.
Yum.
Yeah. Maybe if I told you that there is this waxy substance that is found in whale vomit, and I'll try to pronounce it right. Ambergris.
Oh,
with a
they use it for they use it for amber?
No, it is used in perfume.
Oh, okay. Of course.
You know, when you find out what
I
perfume
don't like
is from,
perfume. That's why.
No. But if you think of what's in perfumes, it's a lot of stuff like this. It's like secretions from God knows whose gonads, and it's whale vomit. Whoa. Yeah, I'm just saying that 280-pound chunk of whale vomit. You know what it was worth? $1.5 million.
Well, good for them.
I know, they're rich now. One of them said they all split the money equally. They bought new homes, cars, boats. One of them said, "We're poor. We were all poor. We had never expected. Why?" I mean, they're just beside themselves.
Yeah, but now they're poor again. I mean, if they all bought homes and cars and boats.
No, well, whatever. And it says it's a 35-person crew. So 35 people split $1.5 million, but for them, that made them rich.
Right.
Nice.
Yep.
Anyway, it turns out that this waxy substance that's it's produced in the whale's intestines, and it's found in their vomit and I guess in other parts of them. And the reason it's used in perfumes is it makes the fragrance last.
Yeah, I was going to say it stabilizes it. But here's the question: how does the parfumier sitting in Paris go, "You know what I need? I need whale vomit."
Yeah. I often wonder that about so many things. Like, who was the first person who said, who thought, if I put a little bit of whale vomit in here? I mean, who are the people that get these ideas and try this stuff out? And because there's so much of this in the world, you would never ever think of using.
No, and then they rename whale vomit. They give it a chemical name so that when you look at the ingredients, you don't realize that you're putting whale vomit on you.
Here, dab a little whale vomit right here behind your ear.
It'll stabilize you too.
Oh yeah, incredible. Okay, so while we're on bodily function, I just got to do one more thing. I have to tell you, I get a lot of this stuff. There's a part of the New York Times that comes on, I guess, Sundays, and it's always a part I love, and it comes with this warning up at the top that this section is not to be read by grown-ups. And it's
the children's news section, right?
it's a kids section. But, tell me it's not to be read by a grown up, and I'm all in, and I love it. There's so many wonderful things in it. And it's also interesting to see how they translate, heavy duty, serious kinds of stories for children. So it is just absolutely a wonderful section. And what do kids love to talk about? Poop, right?
Right. Well, poop is one of the most interesting things in the world.
I know. And there's that great kids book, Everybody Poops, which is true.
And then there's the now famous Whose Poop Is It?
I don't remember that sequel.
Well, that was a book from Montana. Where you identified all the different kinds of wild animal poop that was right outside your door.
Well, if you want to be a tracker or a hunter, I guess you should know. I can identify some poop.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, a few poop facts, and then I'll cease and desist. Some of this is pretty revolting, actually. Wombats. Can you even picture a wombat? I don't know what it is.
Well, when I picture a wombat, I picture a furry hump-like thing. I mean, just sort of a mound, like a possum kind of a mound. I guess when I picture him, when I think of a wombat, I picture a possum-y kind of a guy. What do they look like?
Well, I think you're probably, and you're not wrong. It says here it's a cross between a bear and a gopher.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, well, whatever. So it's a furry thing. And it's also, by the way, a marsupial.
They're pretty cute, these wombats.
Oh, did you look one up?
Yeah. Cute. I got one in 3D now, walking around my iPad and eating. And
okay, that's good. So here's the thing, though, that you're not seeing. First of all, that wombat you're looking at poops up 100 pieces of poop a day.
Lucky little fellow.
I said poops up. That seems wrong. Poops down. Poops
right.
out. Poops.
Excretes.
100 pieces, it says, of poop a day. And here's the biggie. These poops are shaped unlike any poop anywhere else that emits from any other animal. They're cubes.
They crap out ice cube shaped things?
Just little cubes.
They have a little poop production system that packs them out and poops them out.
Poops them out, little cubes. And I mean, wombats make cube poop.
Well, that's cute.
It is. That's another very cute thing. And they aren't sure why, but the fact is they it's the way the poop their intestines are squeezing as they whatever.
Right. They pack it and then they turn it and they pack it some more and they turn it and it comes out a nice perfect cube.
Yeah. And I mean, nobody really knows. The scientists speculate that the cubed poop stays longer on rocks and logs. It doesn't roll off like a round poop, and it may serve as some kind of a who knows what communication tool.
I'm sure somebody is making a condo development out of it even as we speak. That could be housing for a mall. You never know.
Oh, so they take the cubes and build an igloo. Yeah. Build a wall and keep undesirable wombats out or other creatures. Okay, I won't get into some of this other stuff because it really is pretty revolting. About vultures and They poop all over themselves.
Oh, look, here's an article right in front of me. Why do wombats poop cubes?
There you go. I'm telling you, whoever knew, now you know. I'm going to let it go at that. I won't get into the penguin poop. But I mean, penguins, there's one interesting fact about penguins, because as you know, no animal likes to soil its own nest. And yet, penguins are such doting parents that they can't leave the nest when their babies are very, very young. But so what do you do if you got to poop and you can't leave the nest? Well, it turns out that penguins have the ability to shoot their poop a longer distance. They do.
Well, yeah. So they aim and shoot.
They aim and shoot. They say they can throw that poop, 4 feet away from their nest, which I guess is good enough. And it also says here that a penguin creates 4 times the pressure with its rectal muscles while pooping than you do. So when they poop, they say it's more like it's a pressure difference between a sprinkler and a fire hose. We be sprinklers, they be fire hoses.
Right. So the moral of the story is don't get behind a penguin.
I guess a penguin who has to poop who's sitting on a nest.
Right.
I don't know. All right. So that's my.
Speaking of nests, can I interject a little personal experience? If we're talking about cute little animals like skunks.
Okay. Yes. And I knew this. I knew this. It's going to have to be an Ernie story.
Well, it's not only an Ernie story. There seems to be a family plague because my daughter's dog went out in the backyard and got skunked the night before last. And they were reading up on how to keep skunks away and found out that cat poop, and dog poop, predator poops and smells will keep skunks away. So they were busily having one of each. They were busily scattering poop all around their garage and stuff where the sighting occurred. And then my daughter looks out the window and she sees the skunk. And she calls her husband and she says, "There's the skunk. Go chase it out of here." Which I, personally,
I don't think that's a good idea.
But I just think that's how you get skunked. But anyway, but he goes running out and he's about to start screaming when out pops another skunk. And then behind that, another, 8 little skunks following Mr. and Mrs. Skunk. So they went, and so that's what happens. They go immediately from "get that out of here" to "oh no,
where's the camera?
We can't commit genocide on this young family. We're a young family. How could we do this?"
Oh my God, 8 little skunks.
And they're living in the garage. I mean, he opened the garage door and he could see all these little eyes looking at him.
I love it.
So anybody with an idea that comes in under $600, let me know.
Oh. Well, maybe
I thought $600 was pretty righteous for 10 skunks. I mean, that's $60.
What do you want to do with 600? I mean, what?
Then Critter Crawl, they come and trap them and they relocate them.
That's what they say. I don't.
Yeah, I know. They moved them to a less desirable part of the city.
I don't believe it. They tell you. They say, "Oh, don't worry."
Well, that's why they're afraid. They just decided that they've got a skunk. They got a skunk condo in there.
But maybe it's possible skunks are by nature wanting to just be left alone. They're not aggressive. Maybe they could just live with them.
Well, yeah, one would think. I mean, but we got a skunk at our mother's house that lives right next to the back porch.
And our brother has a skunk under his little.
I'm telling you, it's a family plague. I think this is very interesting. I don't have skunks either. I have swampland and a plague of bulldozers, but I don't have, and I have rats. Everybody, this is a wonderful conversation. So that's all I have to say on the subject. But I worked in poop and skunks.
Well, I got to tell you, Ruth has sent me a old Far Side cartoon, and it is of a we'll call it a whale, and the whale's puking, and it's puking up kind of. Well, it looks like there's a scuba diving tank. In regard to what you had said about plastic originally.
Right.
Okay. Oh, God almighty. Yeah, all this detritus from living on the same planet with a bunch of repulsive humans. Hey, did you see that Dragon Man? They're calling him the Dragon Man. This is an ancestor.
Yeah.
We didn't know. He's the brain is larger than ours. I don't know what that means, but it was larger than ours, than the current Homo sapiens brain. And that's a hominid that lived, like, they figure, about 240,000 years ago or something. And that he'd been living around the same time as Neanderthals, who we famously, interacted with in a sexual way, which is why I have Neanderthal in me. You do too, don't you?
I do, but you have more than I.
I do. How'd that happen?
I don't. It's just how these things, work out. I mean, we aren't clones of each other, so clearly the DNA comes out in different patterns and stuff.
Well, I'm glad. I think the Neanderthals were better than we were. I think the wrong people won. I mean, the Homo sapiens, because Neanderthals, I have a sense, were gentler. That's all I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. And this guy, who the hell knows? A big brain, everything, and they didn't make it.
No, they were probably, too smart for their own good.
They were too smart. Neanderthals were too sweet.
Yeah.
And we were just the right combination of sort of cruel survivors and not too smart. We thought we were smart. But getting back to whoever thought, whoever thought, hey, I'm going to make a wheel. I mean, those are geniuses. Those were people that should be up there with Einstein, but we just don't know who
that's someone that is watching a rock roll and think I could do something with that.
It wouldn't be me. Left to my own devices, I would, I'd be in big trouble because my head doesn't work that way. But a lot of people, their heads do work that way. All right,
You would have been the storyteller. Every tribe needs a storyteller.
That's right. Okay, I would have tell the stories. Okay, I'm trying to figure out where to go from here. I think I've pretty much done the stuff that.
Boy, really? Are we in deep doo-doo?
Because now it's just bad stuff.
I know. Well, that's what I was saying. I was scanning desperately every news source that I have access to, which is just about all of them. And, it goes from one horrifying thing to another horrifying thing. And they're all things that have been around forever, except for, things like Miami, and you're going, hey, God, it's
just bad. But okay. So, hang on. I'm going to sort of get something more in the middle here. Do you know that in April, this is a fact, in April, and this is a mind-blowing fact. So as parts of the country are emerging, right, from quarantine living, nearly 4 million Americans quit their jobs in April. 4 million Americans quit their jobs in April. It is far and away a record. Now, what does that say?
Well,
I was talking yesterday.
It's saying a lot of different things. Yeah.
I was saying yesterday how the American worker has never had the power that she or he has now. And you see that by, the employers just begging for workers. And the workers are saying, you know what? You take that crap job and shove it.
Well, a lot of people learned to do other things that treated them with far more respect than they were treated in their previous positions. I mean, it's no accident that it's the restaurants that are having the biggest problems because who didn't pay their staff? And then when they did pay them, who were also infamous for harassing their staff and for and for sexualizing. I mean, the restaurant industry treated its staff just about criminally. Let's just call it what it is. Treated its staff criminally, and now they are surprised that no one wants to go back.
My son still has a memory that makes him laugh. It's of he was in the back seat of the car with me being driven by, God help us, our father.
Well, mazel tov on surviving.
Yes, obviously we did survive that trip. And we were leaving the Union Hotel, which is a quaint, wondrous little restaurant that our family frequents. And
that really is that old. It's 70 something years old. But go ahead.
Yeah. So our father was fuming because he and I had a little bit of a contretemps as we left. I happened to see the tip he left, and I was appalled. And I told him, I said, that's not enough of a tip. And he went, he didn't often get angry, but he got angry. And the thing spilled into the car. And I was telling him, I said, Dad, you don't realize those waiters are paid like $2 an hour. That's impossible, he said. The minimum wage is, I said, no. There's a separate thing no, it's tips are to be. And he refused to believe that what I was saying was true. He didn't know.
That's right. And if he admitted that he had been wrong all this time, then he was absolutely mortified that he was obviously infamous for being a poor.
Yeah, it would have made him just cringe.
Yeah, because he was the most judicious and generous of men, right?
But he didn't know, and he went berserk. And Sam remembers it because it was, I think, a little unsettling to him that his mother and his grandfather were at each other's throats. But listen, this is from Pittsburgh City paper this week. It was about 2 weeks ago that a sign was put up in a subway. And I don't mean underground subway. I mean the restaurant chain.
Right.
On Beechwood Boulevard in Greenfield, just setting it for Pittsburghers here. And the sign simply was taped to the window and it said, "We quit." And it had a smiley face, and then it was signed by 7 people, the employees.
Yeah.
And the place was shut. They just walked out.
Yep.
And another place The
I
dollar
think unions
store,
are going to see
an opportunity here.
Uh-huh.
And then the Family Dollar on Penn Avenue in Garfield in June also had a sign taped to its door, and it said, "Staff quit, you all be easy." Huh? That's what it was. One of the store managers that had quit, a manager had quit, said she was working 105 hours a week. American workers have had it.
They've just had
And
it.
these are the guys that during the pandemic, I was saying this yesterday, these are the ones that we applauded because they kept things, they risked their lives to stay in these jobs, right?
Right.
Or they lost their jobs because restaurants were closed, whatever. They went through holy hell. And I don't know, it's gonna change. And oh, here's another thing I saw on this same subject, and it's also here in Pittsburgh. Hang on, I gotta find it. I took a little photo of it. Here it is. And here's a job opportunity for anybody who's interested. A bus driver's company, a bus driver company, a school bus driver company, a school bus company. Do I have that right now? Finally, a school bus company announced yesterday that it was doubling the wages it paid drivers. Doubling. You don't hear that too often. Doubling.
Which begs the question, if they had the ability to pay them fairly
I know, of course
before.
it does. Right. They, in a news release, this is the Sun Coach Lines, say their company, they will offer all new, you can get this job and you're off and running, all new and existing, you have to be a licensed certified school bus driver, a guaranteed rate of, get this, $168 per day. You know what they were getting? $80. It's over twice as much.
Yeah. I mean, here you go. Here's the free market at play.
That's right.
And if you are in demand, then the market will show it. And all I have to say is restaurant workers and minimum wage workers, unite. This is your moment. And if they need you, you should come back on proper terms. I mean, the other reason that a bunch of people are quitting is because they've been ordered back into situations that they know that are not safe for them. So women don't suddenly not have children that aren't vaccinated.
That's right.
There are real health consequences to a lot of people saying, no, I can't come back in. I can continue to work from home. I could come in like one day a week, but no, I can't. My world hasn't changed one little bit.
And the employers just gotta realize that, guess what? For the first time in a hell of a long time, you are not in a position of power. They are. The people you've been screwing. Right?
Yeah, the people you've been pretending you didn't need to make your excess salaries. You had the equation written as they need me. Yeah, well, the actual equation is you need them or you got nothing.
Nothing. That's right.
And finally the equation has been written correctly. So please don't squander this, American workers. Work yourselves a new deal.
They're obviously figuring it out because, as I said, nearly 4 million quit their jobs in April. And we have to assume that in May a whole bunch more did. And in June, those numbers aren't in yet. Workers are saying, hey, We've all just been through all this. We've learned some things. Right. We've changed. And you've got to change. It's a great moment in that.
Yeah. And I hope we come out, like all this stuff, I hope as long as it's blown up and totally in pieces, why can't we put it back together more equitably? I mean, why isn't that best for everybody, even the guy at the top? Because maybe, he won't have to worry so much about the French Revolution and its consequences on today's life. It's just...
I know. So I said yesterday also, Susan, that I like to, if I'm spending money, I try to think of who's getting it.
Yep.
So, which is why I spurn Amazon as much as I can. Because if there's one guy who doesn't need my money, it's that friggin' Bezos. And what he's done to the American economy and to workers and all this stuff is enough. I don't want to be part of his nightmare scenario. But I also realize that I don't want to travel to states and leave my money in states that I find abhorrent.
Oh no! Do you know that if I see that something is from Georgia, I put it down.
Listen.
I almost bought something and I looked at it and I went, oh no.
Texas, Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, the whole bunch of them.
Missouri, although I can't imagine
Missouri,
what would be produced in Missouri that you'd ever put your hands on, but okay.
Yeah, really. Why would I vacation in Florida? Because they have an ocean. They got oceans other places too that are not vile. And I'm not, no. These states cannot continue to be enriched. Listen to this. I mean, you know this, probably you saw it, but I was reminded of it because, I get that publication The Week. And so it reminds me.
Right.
Of stuff. That repulsive governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, they changed their gun laws, and he happily signed the new gun law. Do you know this gun law? It's almost like the next possible revision to this law is that upon birth, every Texas
is required to get a gun.
Right.
No, it's like Missouri's where they invalidated, in Missouri, they've just invalidated all federal gun laws.
Yeah, okay, stuff like that. I wouldn't I will not cross the border of these repellent states.
No, I mean, I really imagined, when I left St. Louis that in a period of time, I might maintain a small little apartment there because I had so many friends and family there. And I would no more go back to that place. I don't even want to visit. I don't even want to visit. And the good news is just about everybody that I love that is there have left. Yeah.
So, and also that's the hotbed of COVID right now too.
Right. If you want to go to Branson, Mo, and Lake of the Ozarks and all that beautiful stuff, that is the hottest of hot spots.
Yeah.
Nobody's been vaccinated there. Yeah. It's all the new Delta variety. I mean, you want to go and have a dose of dead for holiday? Go to Missouri.
Yeah. It's
also
true.
known as misery by those of us that left.
Well, right, absolutely. Okay. So, I didn't get to the new Texas law that Governor Abbott signed. This law, starting September 1, anyone who wants a gun, wants to carry a handgun, can do so. You need only have the money to buy it. You don't need a permit. You don't need any training. Used to be in Texas, you had to pass a written exam and a shooting proficiency test, be fingerprinted, and undergo 4 to 6 hours of training, which seems amazing for Texas to have had that law.
Well, they used to respect firearms.
Yeah, well, it's gone. I mean, it's like, you know, and you see murders are up and everybody's saying it's because of defund the police. No, it isn't. It's because everybody in this damn country is armed to the teeth. And they're using these guns. No other country has. There are more guns in America, far more guns than there are people. I mean, it's like every person in America.
And nobody knows who the good guys are or who the bad guys are.
Did you see what happened the other day?
Yeah, a good guy takes out the bad guy, and then the cop comes and takes out the good guy.
The good guy, because he was holding a gun and he got killed.
He doesn't have a sign on him that says, "I'm the good guy that took out the bad guy."
Right. And now there's a whole bunch of people dead, and the cop that killed him is going to live with that the rest of his life.
Right.
That's America.
And one of the police chiefs of the St. Louis, fairly large St. Louis suburban city, resigned the second that Missouri passed that law, and he says, "I can't, you know, how can I pursue a criminal on federal gun charges when I'm not allowed to do that?"
Oh dear God in heaven! Stupid doesn't come much more sort of, I mean, just
no. These legislatures are doing only two things. All they are doing is taking rights away from women, right? Closing and
making guns easier to beat.
Making guns easier. That's it. Yep. Oh, and also making voting harder and making voting harder. There you go, folks. There would be the Republican to-do list.
That's it. That's all they're doing. There was an interesting piece written by such a smart guy, Gary Wills. Does that name ring a bell? He was well, he teaches at, I know, Northwestern, but he's a Catholic. I know him as a Catholic writer. He's a scholar of religion and religious history, and he's a fervent Catholic, Gary Wills. And he wrote this, you know, it's very scholarly piece about how the American bishops are so out in right field on this. They've got their theology wrong. They've got their history wrong. And this insanity about abortion in the American Catholic Church and in American politics is aberrant. In American history, I mean, in world history. No one. He said, you know, if you know history, never, ever was a fetus considered a person. Ever in human history.
We've evolved.
Oh, yeah. He said, all the brilliant minds in the world, Dante, think of Dante, that genius, when he was, you know, creating his hellscape and figuring out who would go in each circle of hell. There ain't an abortionist in there. Not any. Hey, this is another thing. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Paul.
Not a word. Not a word.
Not a word from any.
And as they're discussing all these other terrible sins, not a word.
Exactly. Not a word. Nor did whoever wrote down that Old Testament, the Jewish Torah. Not a word. Jesus never said a word. Moses never said a word. St. Augustine never said a word. Aquinas never said a word. And Will says if you look at theological history, at human history, even at Catholic history, never is the fetus considered a human before it is it says pre-rational life, when it is not capable of being human. It is not human. And then he goes on to talk about the cult of the fetus that has been created really since the 1950s.
Yeah,
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. And it's all the same people, by the way, that
wanted to control women.
Yes, that were previously, the McCarthys and all those. This is the same group of people, and it's a way to control women.
That's right.
And yeah, I mean, just period.
That's it. So there's this like fetishization of a fetus. And Will says when this fetishization starts in the 50s and 60s, he said, remember the kinds of crazy things that we saw happening here in this country. Remember there was a big argument for some time about in a crisis, in a pregnancy crisis, which life would be saved.
When I was giving birth to our first child, I mean, when I was pregnant with my first child, my husband, who was raised Catholic, and had sent me to the family OBGYN, who was also Catholic, suddenly got terrified, and he went storming into the office, and he made the doctor promise that if it were a choice between my life and the child's life, that he would save me. and the doctor was not pleased by this. There were actual, I think, repercussions. Really? Yeah.
Okay. Listen. So the fact is that there is now state legislatures in this country are now inventing a new crime, and it's called feticide.
Mm-hmm.
And killing your fetus.
Right. We're going to have a whole bunch of women in jail for having miscarriages. Can we require that these male legislatures at least take a course in biology before they pass laws that it's just. And then while they're going to force you to have the baby, they also, at the same time, are taking whole classes of contraception and forbidding poor women from having them, because that's basically what it always is.
So, I mean, this is, lest we assume that this craziness going on in this country, with the elevation of the fetus and the resultant attempt to control women's lives. This is something new, guys. As we said, Jesus didn't say boo about it. And Gary Wills, who's providing this history, gets personal in it, because he says that in the 1960s, he and his wife were in England, and she was pregnant, and she had a history. Wait. her doctor said she was at severe risk of a miscarriage and told her she needed to just stay in bed. And he gets very nervous and thinks, what does my church, because he's such a good Catholic, what does the Catholic Church say I should do with this baby if it's miscarried? And what do I do? And he went to the priest there. And the priest looked at him like he was nuts. He said, what? Well, I don't know. Just let the hospital handle that.
Right. So he didn't think of it as a living being or a dead person.
No, he did not. And then Gary Will says, and I found in later questions that the church did not prescribe or recommend baptizing a miscarriage as if it were a full human being, nor giving it last rites, nor burying it in consecrated ground. Now we have American legislatures forcing people to bury these. They have death certificates.
Well, I don't know how many people have had miscarriages, but
everybody has.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, mine happened at home, and when I flushed the toilet, there went the remains. I mean, you don't. People read some effing biology. Honest to God, and to have these yahoos proclaiming dominion over your body and my body, and then claiming that they respect their wives, mothers, and daughters. I just, Lord.
Okay, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm just seeing that we've got all these callers. Callers, stay there, but I just want to finish up with, I'm going to quote Wills here at the end. And he says, and this is important to know, given what these ridiculous bishops are doing in this country. He says, the Catholic Church no longer claims that opposition to abortion is scriptural. They don't even bother. It is not a religious issue. They've fallen back on it. It's now a matter of natural law. Yet, as a Catholic judge, John Noonan said, the most recognized experts on natural law do not generally oppose abortion, nor, according to polls, do a majority of American citizens, than the majority of Catholics in America. And he just flat out says, Pope Francis is on their side, our side, and the problem with the American bishops is, and he just says this, they hate this Pope and they hate this president. Because they're political. They're political.
It's not religious. It's political.
It's not religious. It's political. Let's just be clear. All right, caller, go ahead. Got a lot of you. I'm sorry.
Hey, Susan, Lynn, it's Mike in Upper St. Clair.
Hi, Mike.
So my first comment was like 3 topics ago, but it's not even restaurant workers and line workers, bosses who are afraid. I called my boss a couple weeks ago, and it sounded like I was about to quit because I was talking about something else, and I could hear her heart stop on the other line of the phone. And I said, "Do you think I'm going to quit?" She was like, "Yeah, and you have no idea how hard it is to find somebody with your credentials." And I was like, "No, I do, because I get like 3 or 4 headhunters a week calling me saying, 'Are you looking for work?'" So it isn't just line workers; it's everybody now.
Right.
And about
feels good.
Huh? Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
Did you use that?
Dang it, I missed that opportunity.
Oh, well, no. You just put it in your pocket when it comes up next. Okay.
Exactly. We'll do. And then about the Catholic Church. Only the Catholic Church would see a president that is Catholic and not market the crap out of that, right? If the president was a Scientologist, right? If the president was Scientologist, do you not think they would tout that, how great it is to be a Scientologist? Only Catholics would take this marketing opportunity, and instead of pivoting it from child sexual abuse or assault to how good this Catholic is, how great it is to be Catholic, only they would screw this up.
That's right. Boy, are they a bunch.
Right.
You know, they talk about living in a crazed bubble. These guys, these almost universally white men, and the power they wield. God almighty.
Yep.
Yeah, well, and particularly, I mean, it's galling that they're all that these men who have distanced themselves from women theoretically and have held themselves separate from women, nonetheless claim to know all about them and the proper thing for them. And to nobody's surprise, they're exactly wrong. Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, Mike, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, Mike, didn't mean to yell.
Thank you. We have more callers, and I want to hello, if you're still there. Hi.
Hi, I think it's another Mike here.
Okay.
This is Mike from Moundsville in West Virginia.
Cool. Hi.
And you covered everything this morning. The goofy thing that happens with all, I wish. And I live in West Virginia, which, you want to talk about your Mississippi and Texas, you don't have to go that far, Lynn. All you got to do is come down to West Virginia and see how goofy it is here. All this right to work, And the other thing is the only thing we're going to have in Texas, you don't have to take a test to carry a gun, but they're probably going to want you to have to take a test to vote.
Yeah,
that's how. And the other thing is the Catholic Church. I grew up Catholic, went to Catholic school. I'm a practicing Catholic. I go to Mass, just like the president does. Okay, and what they want to do, they're going to say, well, you can't go to communion anymore, Mr. President, because you're in favor. I'm in favor of the right to choose. Okay. I'm a man. I'm never going to have an abortion. But if someone wants to choose that, that's their choice, not mine, not anybody else's. And the Catholic doctrine, doctrine will tell you that communion is the grace of God. It's the body of Christ.
It's not a reward.
It's not something. Right. It's not a reward. Here, you're a good person. Here's your reward. No, it's not that. You need it. You don't earn it.
It's literally communion with Christ.
Right. And should be sustenance.
Yeah.
Yes. I thought it would. I thought in November, well, actually in January, after the treason took place on the 6th of January, after that all was over, I thought this would all be over. What? Gee, I hope sometime during the next 4 years it changes for the better. Yeah, I missed Barack Obama so much, and I like Joe Biden. He's a good man, and I think he's good for me at least, and he's good for the workers of this country, and he's good for the people of this country. Yet we're still going through this. Trump lost twice. People got to understand that he lost twice.
Yeah,
he lost in 2020. He lost in 2016. Anyway, I'm going to shut up.
I'm all right. I appreciate it. Keep your head down there in Moundsville.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, right.
Bye. Bye, Mike.
It's like the good news is QAnon is getting tired of his stump speech. But go ahead, take the next caller.
Do we have another Mike? Hello?
This is Kurt in Swissvale.
Kurt in Swissvale. How you doing?
I'm just great. How are you?
I'm okay.
I don't know. The talk about abortion in the Bible made me think of sort of my personal evolution on that. I remember, and I had to be less than 10 years old, watching TV and hearing Paul Long say, I can't remember which direction it was going, whether Pennsylvania had legalized abortion in the state or whether they'd made it illegal. But I asked Mom what it meant. She told me it was some kind of operation, and I said, "Well, why would we make people drive to New York to get an operation? Because it was legal in New York and not here, apparently." So that was all I got. I was like, "What do we making people jump through these hoops for?" But yeah, it certainly wasn't murder back then. I don't know. Related to that a little bit, I remember about the same time they actually legalized sex between consenting adults. And
right.
Yeah.
Remember that discussion? It's like, man, can people even imagine such a law today?
No, but the Catholic Church is still reeling from that.
But I was really thinking about, I think this was probably 1989. I remember being on a train in Europe with a woman from Australia. And of course, we talked about the woman whose children were abducted and killed by dingoes. Do you remember that story?
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so I think it was a little more current then. And we were talking about, she says, yeah, but you Americans got that all wrong. She said, what it was really, see, in Australia, we have a law that if a woman kills her baby within a year after childbirth, we treat that as sort of a postpartum depression thing. And it's illegal, but it's probably more like you people treat as assisted suicide. You just get people help. You don't, put them in jail.
Wow.
And the issue with one of her babies was it was like one day past its 1 year birthday. She said, we all knew she killed her kids, but it was whether or not she should have leniency because she went over the legal limit by a couple days.
Now, wait a minute. They made a movie starring Meryl Streep, wasn't it?
Yeah. But she
and they
said
proved it was the dingoes.
It was the dingo. She didn't kill the kid. I just want this clear.
Well, I'm just saying the woman from Australia gave me an entirely different perspective than Meryl Streep did.
Man, this is a warning to all 1-year-olds. Don't go to Australia. Stay home until you're well in your second year.
Yeah, that was part of it. Was that 1 year limit thing? But
well, perspective offers very different views.
Yeah. Hey, well, thank you for that, Mike. And Kurt, by the way.
We're not all Mike.
I know you're not. So Kurt, by the way, this is a guy who found the Snowies in the trash and brought it to me.
That was you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I was very impressed.
I was just amazed, especially since the staples are still in the box. It's unopened. It got a little wet in somebody's basement, but
it did. There's some discoloration.
Yeah, and it's a little musty, but that's just the cardboard. But
I think we could get a great price for that. Yeah.
I'm telling you, next week. I think we'll wait until it's hard to auction off his Snowies when it's 95 degrees. So we'll wait until people are desirous of a wondrous snow removal tool.
There you go.
Collector's item. Yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely a collector's item. Although I was watching Antiques Roadshow last night and I can just hear them muttering about the condition. Oh, well, we have some discoloration here.
Well, we still have the original box, even though
that's what I was saying. You have the original packaging.
Yes, we do. Thanks to Kurt, not Mike. Thanks, Kurt.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Okay,
Nice
bye.
to audibly meet you. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. All right. Take care.
Bye-bye. Oh, dear. I think we almost sort of did it there, Suze.
Really? We worked
How'd
our
that
way
happen?
through? I don't know.
Yeah. It's 11.
Oh my God.
I know. Time flies when you're having fun. Yeah. So that's that.
Okay. Well, good. Yeah, it is. Okay. And for the first time in 2 weeks, have to face my boxing trainer, and I'm frankly petrified.
I bet. But you'll get into it.
I will get into it, and I have nothing to do for the rest of the day. I can just lie down and whimper. So it'll be okay.
Great. All right, Sue.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye.
Bye. And guys, I'll be back tomorrow, as is my habit. I'm in a rut. I don't know what to do. I'll be back. Hope you will too. Stay cool.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.